The morning sun painted Geneva's Peace Summit Plaza in shades of gold. Thousands of spectators filled the viewing galleries, their excited whispers creating a gentle hum that floated through the crisp Swiss air. Billions more watched through their screens as humanity prepared for its greatest moment. Sarah Chen adjusted her ceremonial white robe, her small hand smoothing out invisible wrinkles. At 12 years old, she carried herself with a grace that belied her age. The selection committee had chosen her from millions of candidates, not just for her brilliant thesis on interspecies communication, but for the pure hope that radiated from her smile. "Remember, sweetheart," Dr. Maya Chen whispered, kneeling beside her daughter. "Just like we practiced. 10 steps forward, present the gift, and step back." She tucked a strand of Sarah's dark hair behind her ear, fighting back proud tears. The Scatheri vessel hung in the sky above the plaza, its crystalline surface refracting sunlight into rainbow patterns across the crowd. The ship's design defied human architectural understanding. Organic curves blended with geometric precision in ways that seemed to question reality itself. A beam of light stretched from the vessel to the ceremonial platform. The Scatheri delegation emerged, tall, elegant beings with iridescent skin and multiple sets of arms that moved with hypnotic grace. Their supreme commander, distinguished Speaker of Cthulhu, stood nearly 3 meters tall. Their crystalline translation devices hung in the air around them, humming softly. United Nations Secretary-General Torres stepped forward. "People of Earth and honored guests from the stars, today we witness the dawn of a new era. Our species have much to learn from each other. To symbolize our commitment to peace and understanding, we have chosen a child to present our gift of friendship." Sarah took a deep breath and began her walk. 10 steps had never seemed so far. The gift in her hands, a specially crafted crystal containing humanity's collected knowledge and art, caught the sunlight. Her footsteps echoed across the suddenly silent plaza. In the command center beneath the plaza, Dr. James Chen watched through the security feeds, his hands gripping the console. Something about the Scatheri guard's stance bothered him, but he couldn't place why. Their fluid movements had become oddly rigid. Sarah reached the halfway point. Her practiced smile never wavered. Later, analysts would study this moment frame by frame, trying to understand what triggered the tragedy. Some would point to a sudden glare from the crystal. Others would blame a misinterpreted gesture. The truth was far simpler. Fear. Supreme Commander of Cthulhu's neural tendrils flared. In their species, such a gift presentation was an ancient prelude to assassination. Their combat doctrines, developed across millennia of warfare, demanded immediate action against perceived threats. Hostile approach. The translation devices broadcasted in every human language simultaneously. Neutralize immediate threat. Dr. Maya Chen's scream was lost in the chaos that followed. The Scatheri guard's weapons made no sound. There was only a shimmer in the air, a brief moment where Sarah's smile turned to confusion. And then, silence fell across Earth. Billions of viewers sat in stunned disbelief. The Scatheri delegation retreated to their vessel, broadcasting claims of justified defense against a suspected attack. Their ship vanished into the upper atmosphere, leaving humanity to grapple with a moment that would reshape their civilization. In the plaza's command center, Dr. James Chen stared at the empty platform where his daughter had stood. His wife's anguished sobs echoed through the facility. But beneath his grief, something else stirred, a cold, calculating fury that would soon be mirrored across the entire planet. The Scatheri had made a fatal error. They had studied humanity's technology, analyzed their military capabilities, and prepared for every tactical scenario they could imagine. But they had failed to account for one crucial factor: the lengths to which humans would go to avenge one of their children. As news spread across the globe, Earth fell silent. Not in submission, but in preparation. Humanity's response would shake the very foundations of the galaxy. 3 days after the Geneva incident, Earth's major cities went dark. Satellite communications ceased without warning. Military bases worldwide suspended all visible operations. To the watching Scatheri fleet, it appeared humanity had accepted their technological superiority and chosen submission. They were wrong. 5 kilometers beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a facility known only as Deep Harbor, world leaders gathered in a chamber that shouldn't have existed. The walls displayed real-time data from sensors that, officially, humanity wouldn't develop for another century. Dr. Maya Chen stood before the emergency assembly, her grief channeled into cold determination. The dark circles under her eyes testified to sleepless nights, but her voice remained steady as she addressed the room. "Operation Starlight is ready," she announced, activating a holographic display that filled the chamber. "For 30 years, we've known the Scatheri were coming. While they watched our public space programs stumble with chemical rockets, we were preparing." President Torres of the North American Alliance leaned forward. "How many ships?" 3,000, hidden in lunar caves and asteroid bases. Dr. James Chen answered, joining his wife at the podium. He'd aged a decade in 3 days, but his eyes burned with purpose. The Scatheri sensors can't detect them because they don't know what to look for. Their technology follows a linear development path. Ours doesn't. The Chinese premier studied the tactical display. Their fleet numbers 50,000 ships. Even with superior technology, we're outnumbered. "Numbers won't matter," Maya replied, bringing up detailed scans of Scatheri vessels. Sarah's research, her real project, wasn't about peace communications. She discovered their fundamental weakness. Their shield technology operates on predefined frequencies. They'd never imagined someone would think to use quantum entanglement as a weapon. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Sarah Chen hadn't just been their messenger of peace. She'd been one of their brightest minds, working alongside her parents on humanity's greatest secret. "We've already activated the sleeper protocols," James continued, highlighting points across the solar system. "Manufacturing facilities inside Mercury's core are producing quantum torpedoes. Mars base is launching ghost fighters. The Jupiter salvage teams are retrofitting captured Scatheri tech." The Russian Federation's leader stood. "For centuries, we fought among ourselves. Now we have a common enemy. Russia's quantum labs are at humanity's disposal." One by one, every nation pledged its hidden resources. Secret programs, developed in preparation for this moment, emerged from the shadows. The African Union revealed its stealth fleet. The Indian Alliance offered its psychic warfare division. Brazil activated its gravity manipulation research. The Scatheri believe they're watching a primitive species cower in fear, Maya said, her voice growing stronger. "Let them think that. Every minute they gloat is another minute we prepare." Deep beneath the ocean, humanity's leaders united in a way their public governments never could. Ancient rivalries dissolved. Border disputes were forgotten. Resources were pooled, technology shared. In orbit, the Scatheri Supreme Commander observed Earth's apparent shutdown with satisfaction. Their sensors showed minimal power usage, reduced communications, and no military activity. Their anthropologists reported that human social media displayed only grief and fear. They never detected the quantum transmissions linking Earth's hidden facilities. They didn't notice the subtle gravitational distortions as massive ships moved through concealed wormholes. They failed to recognize the significance of certain stars appearing slightly dimmer as human megastructures blocked their light. In her lab within Deep Harbor, Maya Chen held a framed photo of Sarah. "You showed us their weakness, sweetheart. Now we'll show them ours was never weakness at all." The countdown to humanity's response had begun. Not with a bang, but with a silence that would echo across the galaxy. The moon hung serene against the black velvet of space, its cratered surface unchanged for millennia. Scatheri sensors swept across it routinely, finding nothing but dust and ancient rocks. Until something changed. Supreme Commander Katol's neural tendrils twitched as urgent signals flooded the bridge of his flagship. "Energy spike detected on lunar surface," his science officer reported. "Signature unknown. Scale unprecedented. Across the moon's surface, mountains began to move. Entire craters shifted, revealing what lay beneath. The Scatheri watched in stunned silence as humanity's hidden fleet emerged from its lunar cocoon. The ships defied alien understanding. Where Scatheri vessels were crystalline and geometric, these were organic curves of midnight black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. They moved like living things, sliding through space with impossible grace. In Deep Harbor's command center, Dr. Maya Chen gave the order. Operation Starfall is go. All ships, execute Emergence Protocol Sierra Charlie 1. Her voice carried the weight of command, tempered by 3 weeks of preparation since Geneva. The first wave launched from the moon's dark side. 500 ships, each smaller than the smallest Scatheri cruiser, but moving with deadly purpose. They carried no visible weapons. They needed none. Fascinating design, Dr. James Chen observed from his tactical station, studying the Scatheri's panicked response. They're realigning their shield frequencies, exactly as Sarah predicted they would. He paused, touching the silver locket containing his daughter's photo. They still think technology only advances in straight lines. The Scatheri fleet moved to intercept, their massive ships forming traditional battle lines. 50 years of studying Earth's primitive space programs had convinced them of their superiority. They expected simple kinetic weapons or crude energy beams. Instead, humanity unveiled Project Phoenix. The first quantum torpedo passed straight through a Scatheri dreadnought's shields, as if they didn't exist. The alien ship didn't explode. Instead, its crystalline structure began to transform, quantum entanglement rewriting its very atomic structure. By the first light, Prevail whispered as his fleet's most powerful vessel turned to diamond dust, sparkling briefly in the sunlight before dispersing into space. What are these creatures? More ships emerged now. From Mars, from asteroid bases, from Jupiter's moons, each moved according to battle plans decades in the making. Traditional naval tactics mixed with strategies learned from Earth's most successful video game players, creating patterns too chaotic for Scatheri combat computers to predict. Maya's flagship, Phoenix Rising, led the charge. Its hull bore an image of a young girl offering a crystal, a reminder of what they fought for. All ships, implement Sarah Protocol, she commanded. Show them what humanity has been holding back. The space around Earth's orbit transformed into a quantum battleground. Scatheri ships found their advanced targeting systems useless against vessels that existed in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Their energy weapons passed harmlessly through human ships that temporarily shifted between dimensions. They're retreating to regroup, James reported, watching the alien fleet pull back. Sensor data confirms their entire command structure is in chaos. They never conceived of quantum warfare on this scale. In his flagship's command center, Supreme Commander Prevail faced a terrible realization. The humans hadn't been primitive at all. They had hidden their true capabilities, waiting for the right moment. His actions at Geneva hadn't cowed humanity into submission. They had awakened a sleeping giant. All ships maintain pursuit, Maya ordered, her voice carrying across the human fleet. Don't let them reach their jump gates. Execute containment pattern Delta. The stars themselves seemed to dim as humanity's hidden fleet deployed in full force, their quantum drives bending reality in ways that made the Scatheri's most advanced technology look like simple machines. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their patience in waiting for the perfect moment to reveal it. Maya Chen stood at the helm of the Phoenix Rising, watching as space itself rippled around her fleet. The quantum wake of 3,000 human vessels created patterns of light that no human artist had ever captured. Until today. Ghost Fleet units report ready, James announced from the tactical station, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. Phase shift drives aligned. Sarah's calculations were perfect. We're completely invisible to their standard sensors. The Scatheri recovery fleet hung in high orbit around Mars, their crystalline ships still struggling to adapt to the quantum attacks they'd faced. Their sensors swept space continuously, searching for signs of the human vessels that had devastated their front lines. They were looking in the wrong dimension. All Ghost Fleet units, execute Operation Phantom Strike. Maya commanded. Remember your training. Move like water. Strike like lightning. Show them why humanity spent centuries perfecting the art of war. The human fleet shifted, their quantum drives pulling them slightly out of normal spacetime. To the Scatheri sensors, they simply didn't exist. 3,000 ships, moving through the gaps between moments, approaching their targets with surgical precision. On his flagship's bridge, Supreme Commander Cole received reports from his science division. Impossible, he muttered, his neural tendrils writhing in agitation. Their technology can't be this advanced. We watched them for decades. They were launching chemical rockets while we crossed galaxies. Sir, his tactical officer interrupted, we're detecting unusual gravitational distortions. They don't match any known weapon signature. Because they're not weapons, Fatol realized too late. They're footprints. The Ghost Fleet materialized simultaneously, surrounding the Scatheri recovery fleet. Each human ship appeared in perfect firing position, their quantum torpedoes already launching through the gaps in alien shields that Sarah Chen had identified in her research. Analysis confirms direct hits on 87% of targets, James reported, his voice tight with controlled emotion. Their shield modifications didn't work. They still can't detect the quantum signature Sarah discovered. Maya watched as Scatheri ships transformed into clouds of glittering crystal fragments. Their mighty fleet, terror of 12 star systems, fell before weapons they couldn't even detect. But this wasn't just about military victory. Broadcast on all frequencies, she ordered. Let every species in the galaxy hear this. Her voice carried across space, translated into every known language by systems far more advanced than the Scatheri had believed possible. This is Captain Maya Chen of the Earth Defense Force. You killed my daughter, thinking we were primitive and weak. Now you understand. We weren't primitive. We were patient. The remaining Scatheri ships attempted to retreat, their engines pushing to maximum power. But humanity had spent decades preparing for this moment. Quantum fields disrupted their jump drives. Gravitational anchors held them in place. Second wave, begin attack pattern Delta, James commanded. The Ghost Fleet moved with fluid grace, their formations drawing from Earth's martial arts traditions. Like skilled dancers, they flowed around Scatheri counterattacks, striking at vulnerabilities only a child's brilliant mind could have discovered. In the chaos of battle, Maya touched the locket containing Sarah's photo. Your research made this possible, sweetheart. You saw what everyone else missed, that their technology only advances in predictable ways. They never learned to think differently. The battle for Mars orbit lasted less than an hour. When it ended, the mighty Scatheri recovery fleet existed only as drifting crystal fragments, catching sunlight like a million tiny stars. All ships, prepare for Phase 2, Maya announced. The Scatheri thought they were the most advanced species in the galaxy. Today they learn why humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our creativity. Set course for their core worlds. Show them why you never harm a human child. The Ghost Fleet vanished again, leaving behind only silence and the glittering remains of alien ships as testament to humanity's hidden power. The real war was just beginning. The Scatheri defense fleet above their colony world Nexus Prime had never lost a battle. Their ships arranged themselves in perfect geometric patterns, a formation their tactical computers had determined was unbeatable. Supreme Commander Cole watched from his new flagship as 5,000 crystalline vessels aligned themselves to defend against the approaching human fleet. They weren't prepared for what happened next. All ships, initiate the butterfly gambit. Maya Chen commanded from the Phoenix Rising's bridge. Her fleet of smaller vessels began a maneuver that defied conventional space combat tactics. Instead of meeting the Scatheri line head-on, the human ships split into pairs, moving in spiraling patterns that seemed to make no tactical sense. Their formation is chaos, Fatol observed, his neural tendrils twitching in confusion. No military logic, no strategic cohesion. His tactical officer's response was cut short as the first pair of human ships struck. They moved like dance partners, one drawing Sktheri fire while the other slipped through gaps in their formation that shouldn't have existed. The quantum torpedoes they launched seemed to curve in space, following paths that the Sktheri targeting computers insisted were impossible. They're using modified Wing Chun principles, James Chen explained to the fleet commanders, watching as more ship pairs engage. Sarah studied ancient martial arts in her spare time. She theorized that the principles of redirecting energy could work in space combat. The battle unfolded like a deadly ballet. Human ships moved in ways that turned the Sktheri's superior size against them. When the aliens fired their energy weapons, human vessels would slip aside at the last moment, letting the beams strike other Sktheri ships. Their perfect formation became their perfect weakness. Star Spirit Squadron, execute Aikido Protocol, Maya ordered, watching as a group of 30 human ships began their approach. They moved in circular patterns, drawing fire from the largest Sktheri dreadnoughts. But instead of evading, these ships caught the energy beams in quantum fields, redirecting them back at their sources. In the command center, James studied the tactical display with pride. Sarah always said the Sktheri's problem was thinking too linearly. They believe bigger ships and more powerful weapons always win. They never understood finesse. The Sktheri fleet's formation crumbled as human ships flowed through their defense lines like water through rocks. Each movement was calculated to use the aliens' own energy against them. When they tried to regroup, they found their communications disrupted by quantum interference patterns based on Sarah's research. Phoenix Squadron, demonstrate the crane's flight, Maya commanded, leading a formation of ships in a maneuver that seemed to defy physics itself. They moved through four-dimensional space, appearing to fold around Sktheri weapons fire like paper cranes dancing in the wind. Fatol watched in horror as his fleet's perfect formation dissolved into chaos. How? He demanded. Their ships are smaller. Their weapons should be weaker. This defies all military doctrine. The answer came as his flagship's sensors detected a new energy pattern. The Phoenix Rising approached, its quantum wake forming the image of a graceful dancer in space. Maya's voice transmitted across all frequencies. You thought size meant strength. You never understood that true power comes from how you move, not how hard you hit. A final series of quantum torpedoes struck the Sktheri command ships. As they transformed into drifting crystal clouds, the remaining alien vessels broke formation and retreated, their tactical computers unable to compute a defense against human combat techniques that treated space warfare like a dance. All ships, secure the system, Maya ordered, watching the last Sktheri ships flee. Today we showed them that humanity's greatest weapons aren't our ships or our technology. It's our ability to take ancient wisdom and apply it in ways they never imagined possible. The stars themselves seemed to dance as the human fleet secured their position, preparing for the next phase of their campaign to reshape the galaxy. News of Earth's victory spread across the galaxy like wildfire. On the Drachnid homeworld, tall, scaled beings gathered in underground chambers, watching intercepted battle footage of human ships dancing through Sktheri formations. In the crystal caves of Centauri Prime, luminescent creatures shared whispered stories of quantum torpedoes that turned mighty warships to stardust. Maya Chen stood on the observation deck of the Phoenix Rising, watching the swirling clouds of a gas giant below. The ship's quantum sensors detected movement in the planet's upper atmosphere, hidden settlements of the native Lyrans, a species that had taken refuge in the violent storms to escape Sktheri control. We're receiving another transmission, James reported from his station. This one's from the Drachnid Resistance. They're ready to coordinate with our fleet. The main display activated, showing the towering form of Drachnid Resistance leader Kavor. His scaled features bore the marks of centuries of warfare. Captain Chen, my people have waited 300 years for this moment. The Scatheri believed they had broken our spirit. They were wrong. Send them the technical specifications, Maya ordered. Show them how to modify their shields to generate the quantum frequencies Sarah discovered. Across dozens of star systems, subjugated species began to rise. The Centauri, masters of crystal technology, adapted human quantum principles to their own ships. The Lyrans emerged from their gaseous hiding places, their atmospheric vessels now equipped with phase shift drives based on Earth's designs. On the bridge of his last remaining capital ship, Supreme Commander Ptol received reports of simultaneous uprisings across his empire. Impossible, he hissed, neural tendrils writhing in distress. How are they coordinating these attacks? The answer appeared on his tactical display as a new human fleet emerged from quantum space. The Phoenix Rising led the formation, but it was flanked by ships of clearly alien design. Drachnid warships moving with the same fluid grace as their human allies. This is Captain Maya Chen to all resistance forces, her voice carried across the quantum network that now linked the allied species. The Scatheri built their empire on the belief that advanced technology alone brings victory. Today, we show them the power of unity and adaptation. The combined fleet moved like a single organism. Drachnid heavy cruisers provided covering fire, while human vessels slipped through defensive lines. Centauri ships projected quantum shields that turned Scatheri energy weapons back on themselves. Lyran atmospheric specialists created gravitational distortions that trapped enemy vessels. Sarah's dream wasn't just about peace, James said softly, watching the cooperation between species that until recently had never met. She believed different perspectives made us stronger. She would have loved seeing this. The Scatheri Empire had conquered 12 species over centuries, keeping them isolated, preventing them from sharing knowledge or technology. They never imagined their carefully segregated subjects would one day fight together, combining their unique strengths with human innovation. All allied ships, execute Liberation Protocol Delta, Maya commanded. The fleet split into mixed species squadrons, each combining different tactical approaches in ways the Scatheri computers couldn't predict. A Drachnid warship would draw enemy fire, while a human vessel slipped through the quantum wake to deliver its strike. Centauri ships created crystal formations that Lyran vessels used as gravitational lenses to amplify their attacks. As another Scatheri stronghold fell, Maya received transmissions from 3 more species requesting alliance. The Phoenix Rising's quantum wake now carried not just the image of a young girl offering peace, but the combined hopes of multiple civilizations yearning for freedom. We're tracking Scatheri fleet movements, James reported. They're abandoning their outer colonies, falling back to their core systems. They're running scared. Maya touched the locket containing Sarah's photo. They should be. They thought killing one human child would break our spirit. Instead, it inspired us to unite the galaxy against them. The stars themselves seemed to shine brighter as the alliance of liberated species prepared for their final push toward the heart of the Scatheri Empire. The Polaris system blazed with the light of 3 suns, their combined radiance illuminating the massive structure that served as the Scatheri's final stronghold. Supreme Commander Ptol's new flagship, the Crystal Sovereign, dwarfed even Earth's largest cities. Its crystalline surface reflected the light of the triple stars, creating an aurora that stretched for thousands of kilometers. One ship, Ptol observed from his command throne, neural tendrils pulsing with anticipation. They send one ship to challenge us. The Phoenix Rising approached alone, its quantum wake leaving a trail of iridescent light against the starfield. On the bridge of the Phoenix Rising, Maya Chen studied the tactical display showing the Crystal Sovereign. The massive vessel represented everything the Scatheri believed about power. That bigger was always better. That overwhelming force guaranteed victory. Final scan complete, James reported from his station. Sarah's theories were right. The bigger they made it, the more vulnerable it became to quantum resonance. Their own arrogance created their weakness. Maya opened a channel to the Allied fleet waiting in quantum space. All ships maintained position. This ends where it began, with a single human ship facing their pride. The Crystal Sovereign's weapons arrays activated, thousands of energy cannons tracking the approaching vessel. Ktol's voice broadcast across all frequencies. "You've fought well, humans. Your resistance was impressive. But now you face the ultimate achievement of Scatheri engineering. Surrender, and we may yet show mercy." Maya's response came as the Phoenix Rising initiated a maneuver that should have been impossible for a ship its size. It moved like a leaf in the wind, each rotation and pivot following patterns Sarah had discovered in her study of Earth's martial arts. "You still don't understand," Maya replied, her voice carrying the weight of a mother's determination. "Size isn't strength. Pride isn't power. The moment you killed my daughter, you sealed your fate." The Phoenix Rising's quantum drive engaged, splitting the ship's existence across multiple dimensions. To the Scatheri sensors, it appeared to be everywhere and nowhere at once. Their targeting computers struggled to track a vessel that occupied several points in spacetime simultaneously. Impossible. Ktol raged as his weapons fire passed harmlessly through phantom images of the human ship. "Our calculations are perfect. Our technology is superior." Sarah's last project, James spoke softly, entering the final targeting calculations. "She found the mathematical pattern in your technology. You advance in straight lines, always building bigger, always following the same rules. She saw how to turn that predictability against you." The Phoenix Rising's quantum wake began to resonate with the Crystal Sovereign structure. Sarah's equations predicted this. The larger the crystalline mass, the more vulnerable it would be to the right frequency. The massive flagship's surface began to shimmer as quantum harmonics disrupted its molecular bonds. "All power to forward shields," Ktol commanded, but it was too late. His mighty vessel, the pinnacle of Scatheri engineering, had become its own weakness. Maya touched the locket containing Sarah's photo one last time. "This is for every child who ever dreamed of the stars, for every species you tried to crush under your crystal boots, and for my daughter, who saw through your illusion of power." The Phoenix Rising executed its final attack run. Not with weapons, but with a precisely calculated quantum field that Sarah had theorized in her research. The field intersected with the Crystal Sovereign structure at exactly the right frequency. "Final coordinates locked," James announced. Sarah's calculations were perfect to the last decimal. The largest ship ever built by the Scatheri Empire began to transform. Starting from its core and spreading outward, its crystalline structure converted into pure light. Ktol's final transmission cut off as his mighty flagship became a brilliant aurora, its particles spreading across the Polaris system like a farewell message written in starlight. Maya watched the display, her voice barely a whisper. "You showed us the way, sweetheart. Now the galaxy can finally know peace." The age of Scatheri dominance ended not with an explosion, but with a light show that would be remembered across the galaxy for generations to come. 1 year after the Battle of Polaris, the Great Hall of the newly established Galactic Council sparkled with light from 1,000 worlds. The chamber, built in Geneva on the exact spot where everything had changed, featured walls of crystal that had once been part of Scatheri warships, now transformed into symbols of peace. Maya Chen stood at the central podium, her formal uniform adorned with symbols from every species that had joined the alliance. The Phoenix Rising's quantum wake image of a child offering peace had become the Council's official emblem, a reminder of how unity had been born from tragedy. "The Scatheri delegation may enter," she announced, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. The chamber's grand doors opened, revealing a group of Scatheri representatives. They moved with less rigid precision than before, their neural tendrils flowing more naturally. Leading them was a young Scatheri, barely into adolescence by their standards. "I am Callan," the young Scatheri spoke, approaching the podium with a grace that reminded Maya of Sarah. "Our people have chosen me to represent our commitment to a new way. We offer not surrender, but a request to learn and grow alongside the other species of our galaxy." James Chen, standing at his station beside the podium, nodded slightly to Maya. The quantum sensors confirmed what they'd hoped. The new generation of Scatheri showed dramatically different neural patterns than their predecessors. They had begun to think creatively, to question the rigid structures that had defined their civilization. The Council recognizes the Scatheri transition government, Maya declared. Your people will retain sovereignty over your homeworld, with the same rights and responsibilities as all member species. Around the chamber, representatives from dozens of species watched. The Drachnid councillors' scales shimmered with approval. The Centauri delegation's crystalline forms pulsed with harmonious light. The Lyran representatives swirled in their atmospheric containment fields, creating patterns that expressed acceptance. We bring a gift, Callan announced, gesturing to their assistants. They carried forward a crystal sphere that caught and refracted light in impossible ways. Our artisans created this by combining our traditional crystal working with principles of quantum mechanics we learned from human scientists. It is something new, born from the union of different perspectives. Maya accepted the sphere, watching as it created patterns that seemed to dance like her daughter once had. In return, we have something to share with you, she said, activating the chamber's central display. The hologram showed a new type of ship under construction in Earth's orbital yards. Its design combined elements from all Council species, Scatheri crystal technology, Drachnid biological engineering, Centauri energy matrices, Lyran atmospheric manipulation, and human quantum science. This is the first of our Explorer-class vessels, James explained, stepping forward. Designed not for war, but for pushing the boundaries of known space. Each ship will carry crew members from all Council species, working together to understand the mysteries of our galaxy. The first vessel of this class, Maya added, her voice carrying both pride and bittersweetness, will be called the Sarah Chen. My daughter dreamed of a galaxy united in peace and discovery. Today, we begin making that dream reality. Callan approached the podium, moving with the fluid grace that characterized the new Scatheri. We have learned that true strength comes not from domination, but from understanding. Each species brings unique insights. Together, we are greater than the sum of our parts. As the Council chamber erupted in approval, Maya touched the locket that still held Sarah's photo. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. From the depths of tragedy had emerged something beautiful, a unity that transcended species and space. The stars await, she whispered, watching as representatives from once warring species mingled freely, sharing ideas and dreams. And we'll explore them together, sweetheart, just like you always wanted. Above the Council chamber, the first stars of evening became visible through the transparent dome. They seemed to shine brighter now, as if acknowledging that the galaxy's children had finally learned to dance together among them.